Hello and namaskaram to everybody. My name is Kiran Rajagopalan and I am one of the featured Bharatanatyam dancers in Malyada. Malyada is a celebration of Andal's Thiruppavai during the month of Margari, which is a very auspicious month in the Tamil calendar. And it features performances that have been curated by Pranamya Suri and a discussion of each of the 30 Pāsurams of Thiruppavai by Dushyanth Sridhar. Now that Margari is coming to a close, I'm really thrilled and excited to announce that I will be presenting the 28th Pāsuram from Thiruppavai, Karavaigal Sendru, and that will be debuting on Instagram and YouTube very shortly on the 11th of January night, that is US time, or the 12th of January morning, Indian Standard Time. And that YouTube video will be made available on my social media platforms very shortly. In the meantime, I'd love to share with you my thoughts about Karavaigal Sendru in terms of its poetry and the intention behind the choreography that you will see. I first presented this particular Pāsuram back in 2017 for a production I did called Samithyam. And this was in celebration of Ramanuja's 1000th birth anniversary. So for those of you who are not familiar with Ramanuja, he was an 11th century philosopher who was very instrumental in promoting and propagating Sri Vaishnavism throughout the Indian subcontinent through his travels and his teachings. And one of Ramanuja's biggest influences was actually Andal, who had preceded him by a few centuries. And Andal also was regarded as Ramanuja's Ishtadeva, or personal deity. So such was the importance of Andal in the promotion of Vishnu worship or Vaishnavism. And so with this particular Pāsuram, Karavaigal Sendru, what I loved most about it is that it really beautifully illustrated the idea of Samithyam, which in Sanskrit means in assembly with, next to, or in close proximity with. And in this context, it is with Lord Vishnu or God. So what does this exactly have to do with Thiruppavai? So Thiruppavai, in many of the Pāsurams, including this one, Andal imagines herself as one of Krishna's gopikas, one of the cow shepherdesses in his kulam. And so they are in constant engagement with him as part of the clan. And so they are in constant proximity with the Lord himself. And so you see this beautiful tension between Andal viewing Krishna as her lover, especially Natya Tirumori, her other well-known work, and Krishna as a manifestation of Lord Vishnu himself. And so the play between informality as you would be with the lover and the formality that is expected and required when addressing God himself is really beautifully brought out in this Pāsuram. And I really wanted to emphasize how human Andal seems in this particular Pāsuram, especially when she says, Ariyada Pillaigalum. We're but foolish, simple girls who call you silly names out of love. So please don't be angry with us. And please continue to bless us with the pare drums. And the pare, of course, referring to not only just a physical type of drum, but also all of the auspicious energy that reverberates from this drum and the good wishes and the prosperity for which it represents. And so I created this imagined scenario, knowing that Andal is this gregarious teenager from the readings I did of her Natya Tirumori, of Thiruppavai, and some alternate narratives, including Queen of Jasmine Country by Sharanya Manivannan. I started to construct this character profile of Andal, which is very much steeped in the idea of adolescent love. Now I can tell you, having been a teenager not so long ago, but whenever I felt something like a stirring of love or affection or infatuation, it was always incredibly visceral. It was always deeply felt and urgent. And of course, the influence of puberty and hormones was definitely there. And you can really feel that in Andal's poetry And I wanted to bring some of that into Thiruppavai, which is regarded widely as a very sacred work. I wanted to bring that humanist to Andal, especially in this interpretation, where she's the romantic at heart with the way with words. Not the goddess that we know, but the young teenager who we ought to know as well. And so that's what I was aiming for in this choreography, was this imagined scenario where Andal with her girlfriends comes to the temple early in the morning, but it's still not open. So I kind of pictured Andal being really impatient and impetuous, almost saying, Krishna, why are you asleep? Get up, get up, get up. And her words and her enthusiasm are so loud that it attracts maybe a temple priest who's like, de, chumare, or something like that, and chastises her for being, the impetuous teenager that she comes across as often. But you also get a sense that, she knows exactly where she's positioned as a young girl in society. And that kind of profundity is what makes this Pāsuram extremely special. The actual video was shot in Costa Rica, in Monteverde, which is in the hills. And so we went there on vacation, and as soon as we came to the property, I knew it was absolutely perfect to shoot this Pāsuram, because Srivilliputturu is also nestled near the hills. And so I imagined this really lush, verdant, really reflective of Andal's youth and passion, full of flowers, full of breeze, and of course, since we're talking about Thiruppavai, full of cows. And precisely on this farm that we shot at, it was a former dairy pasture with cows grazing in the hills. So it was perfectly idyllic. And so I hope you enjoy it. And as I said, it will be coming out very soon on January 11th night in the US and January 12th early morning in India. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Margari. And please stay tuned for this and other performances in Malyada.